Hello friends, welcome back to What Cat Reads. For those who don't know me, I'm Kat. I'm a wife, a homeschool mom, and an avid reader. It is surprisingly almost October. And this month, while I'm not doing a specific readathon or setting a hard TBR, there are some books that I'm definitely going to read, and there are some that I really would like to read just because it's the month of October and they're kind of spookier books, and that's kind of the mood I'm in. Let's start with three books that I absolutely know that I am going to read. The first is A Discovery of Witches. I actually have already started this one. I started it right around September 18th. I'm doing a real-time read through of this. So on September 18th, I read chapter 1. On the 21st, I read chapters 2 and 3, and so forth. So in October, the majority of this book takes place October and the first day of November. I am doing a vlog on this one, so I'm not really going to go a whole lot into this, but for those who don't know, Discovery of Witches follows Diana, who is born to a family of witches, and in the first chapter, she comes across Ashmole. What is the number? Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Oops. Ashmole 782. And this is an alchemical text, and when she receives it, it puts into motion a bunch of things, including her meeting a vampire named Matthew Claremont. Most of us kind of know of this series. Showtime is doing a TV series with it, and I've really enjoyed it. I have read this series before, but I was intrigued by the real-time read-through, and I'm hoping that they go on ahead and continue through the rest of the series, just so we kind of get that feel of that whirlwind romance that's going on in this, along with all the events that are going on, that romance kind of takes a backseat to. Another book that I am definitely going to be reading is Eclipse. I am working my way through this series with a group who are reading the series and watching the movies together. This is Sarah's Shelf's read-along of the full series. And so in the month of October, we're reading Eclipse, and then we'll watch the movie at the end of the month. For those who don't know, this series is following a human named Bella who falls in love with a vampire named Edward and is best friends with a werewolf named Jacob. And it's a very kind of fun series for those of us who grew up with, or as these were being released, and so it's been kind of fun to reread this series and just kind of relive that those feelings that we felt with that one. In Eclipse, we are dealing with events that happened in the first book that have really pushed over and are coming to a head in the third book. Another book that I am definitely going to read during October is another vampire human story. And this is the Crave series. I've read the first 3. I have book 4 now, which is Court. And in this we have Grace, our half human, half gargoyle, is trying to reset up her gargoyle court. And you'll have to read, if you haven't read the rest of the books, you'll have to read them to figure out how we end up here from her being a human with no knowledge of the supernatural world around her. I'm really enjoying the story. It's more of a grown-up Twilight, with some of those changes that we had, of complaints that were made with the Twilight series, are kind of visited and changed in this one. With Court, we do have dragons, and we have demons, and we have vampires, along with witches. You know, a lot more of the supernatural realm is developed in Crave. Another book that I'm looking forward to reading during October is one that I started at the end of October last year and just kind of hit a slump and put it to the side, because at that point when I came out of my slump, it was Christmas time and I did not want to read ghost stories for obvious reasons. And this book is Scritch Scratch by Lindsay Curry. In this one, we meet Claire, and she is the daughter of a ghost bus tour director, and he goes around driving a bus tour around the town of Chicago telling ghost stories. But Claire is a scientist, and she has no interest in the supernatural world and feels that it's not scientific, it's not even real, it's just in everyone's heads, basically. Until one night she is set up as the liaison helper between her dad and the tourists while her dad is driving the bus. And she meets this boy. And there's something that's off about his presence. And when she goes to check on him at the end of the bus tour, he's gone. Starting that night, she starts hearing these scratching sounds at night, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. And so this story it's a middle grade ghost tale, and sometimes those middle grade books can be a little scarier than the adult books. And so we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I can get through it this year and enjoy it as much as my sister did when she read it. Another couple of books that I'm looking at possibly reading during October are part of a middle grade spooky series, and that's part of the Small Spaces series. And this is the second book is Dead Voices. The third book is Dark Waters. When I read Small Spaces last year, Dark Waters had just come out, and so I couldn't get a hold of Dead Voices because everyone else was borrowing it at the same time so they could reread the series. But this series, in Small Spaces, we have Ollie, Coco, and Brian, and they come together to solve this mystery at this farm where they have friends, classmates, and people from the past who have been turned into scarecrows. So in Small Spaces, they deal with scarecrows. In Dead Voices, we have, here's what Goodreads says for this. Having survived sinister scarecrows and the malevolent smiling man in Small Spaces, newly minted best friends Ollie, Coco, and Brian are ready to spend their relaxing winter break skiing together with their parents at Mount Hemlock Resort. But when a snowstorm sets in, causing the power to flicker out and the cold to creep closer and closer, the three are forced to settle for hot chocolate and board games by the fire. Ollie, Coco, and Brian are determined to make the best of being snowed in, but odd things keep happening. Coco is convinced she has seen a ghost, and Ollie is having nightmares about frostbitten girls pleading for help. Then Mr. Voland, a mysterious ghost hunter, arrives in the midst of the storm to investigate the hauntings at Hemlock Lodge. Ollie, Coco, and Brian want to trust him, but Ollie's watch, which once saved them from the smiling man, has a new cautionary message. Beware. With Mr. Voland's help, Ollie, Coco, and Brian reach out to the Dead Voices at Mount Hemlock. Maybe the ghosts need their help, or maybe not all ghosts can or should be trusted. So this one is a ghost tale, and I really enjoyed Small Spaces, so I'm hoping that the next ones I will feel the same with. Dark Waters, we're going to have a lot of the kind of same idea, where the three are going on an adventure. They're going on a boat trip on Lake Champlain, and they stumble upon a deserted island. I don't want to read too much of it because I don't want spoilers for myself for Dead Voices. Another middle grade spooky book I'm looking forward to hopefully getting to in October is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. I have loved everything I have read by Victoria Schwab, so I have no idea what this book is about, other than who the author is. So here's what Goodreads says. Cassidy Blake's parents are the Inspectors, a somewhat inept ghost hunting team. But Cass herself can really see ghosts. In fact, her best friend Jacob just happens to be one. When the Inspectors head to the ultra-haunted Edinburgh, Scotland, for their new TV show, Cass and Jacob come along. In Scotland, Cass is surrounded by ghosts, not all of them friendly. Then she meets Laura, a girl who can also see the dead. But Laura tells Cassidy that as an in-betweener, their job is to send ghosts permanently beyond the veil. Cass isn't sure about her new mission, but she does know the sinister Red Raven haunting the city doesn't belong in her world. Cassidy's powers will draw her into an epic fight that stretches through the worlds of the living and the dead in order to save herself. So this is one that, again, another middle grade spooky ghost tale. And I'm hoping that I don't fully burn myself out this year again. But if I'm going to do it, why not do it all in October? So let's look at some more adult books that I'm hoping to read during October. One of them being Grady Hendrix' My Best Friend's Exorcism. In this, we have Abby and Gretchen, who have been friends since 5th grade and have bonded over those things that at the time were really cool, such as scratch and sniff stickers, roller skating parties, and their shared love of E.T. But when they hit high school, Gretchen changes, and Abby is trying to figure out what's going on and ends up that Gretchen has been possessed by a demon. And so Abby's doing everything in her power to excise this demon from her best friend. The last book that I'm kind of setting on my soft TBR for this month, or for the month of October, is going to be The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. Last year, this one had a lot of hype around it, and by the time that I got around to thinking about it, I was kind of out of the spooky books and was ready for those cozy mysteries and snowed in tales that I kind of lean toward in the winter months. But the X-Hex is one that I'm kind of hoping will break up some of the ghost tales, but still give some of those spooky vibes that I'm looking for. Here's what Goodreads says. 9 years ago, Vivian Jones nursed her broken heart like any young witch would. Vodka, weepy music, bubble baths, and a curse on the horrible boyfriend. Sure, Vivi knows that she shouldn't use her magic this way, but the only way an orchard hayride scented candle. I'm sorry. Let me start that sentence over. I have totally butchered it. Sure, Vivi knows that she shouldn't use her magic this way, but with only an orchard hayride scented candle on hand, she isn't worried it will cause him anything more than a bad hair day or two. That is, until Reese Penhollow, descendant of the town's ancestors, breaker of hearts, and annoyingly just as gorgeous as he always was, returns to Graves Glen, Georgia. What should be a quick trip to recharge the town's ley lines and make an appearance at the annual fall festival turns disastrously wrong. With one calamity after another striking Reese, Vivi realizes her silly little X-Hex may not have been so harmless after all. Suddenly, Graves Glen is under attack from murderous wind-up toys, a pissed-off ghost, and a talking cat with some interesting things to say. Vivi and Reese have ignored their off-the-charts chemistry to work together to save the town and find a way to break the breakup curse before it's too late. This one, my sister has read before me and enjoyed it. I think it'll be enough rom-com kind of summer read mixed with fall vibes that it'll be a good time. So there you have it. That's kind of my soft TBR for October. We'll see how things really end up because I'm a little bit stressed over my end of September reading because Bookopoly was not as kind to me as I hoped it would be, or as it has been in the past. And I am still about 4 books shy of the end, with only a few days left in the month. What are you planning on reading this October? Let me know in the comments. And please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you later.